Judge Kimberly Fitzpatrick was elected as judge of the 342nd District Court in November of 2018. In her first 18 months, she worked tirelessly to reduce the cases on her docket and create a timely and welcoming court that is impartial and fair. With the support of her incredible team, the 342nd has tripled the number of cases tried versus the previous year. Judge Fitzpatrick is the former mayor of Dalworthington Gardens. I said the former mayor of Dalworthington Gardens. She served as managing attorney of Harris Cook LLP, Arlington. And she also served as in-house counsel for many small businesses, wherein she reviewed contracts, managed litigation, investigated and responded to complaints involving Texas Workforce Commission, EEOC, OSHA, and U.S. Department of Labor. She's the former president of the Arlington Bar Association and past president, vice president, director, and co-founder of the Arlington Young Lawyers Association. Also served on the Unauthorized Practice of Law Committee of the State Bar. One final fun fact, she is a fellow of the Texas Bar Foundation, an honor bestowed upon less than 1% of Texas attorneys each year. She is amazing and distinguished. Please join me in welcoming Judge Kimberly Fitzpatrick.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm honored to be here with you today. And thank you so much to my friend, Ms. Amber White, for inviting me. I feel really connected to this program because you guys are going through my very similar footsteps back from 1996 to 2003. And it's hard to believe that I completed undergrad now 18 years ago. Of course, back when I graduated, I didn't have, to face the many challenges of your class. Basically, y'all have had to deal with COVID and snowvid. In the last 14 months, y'all have endured a pandemic where over 3 million people have passed away worldwide. And also a major Texas freeze. The damages, I don't know if y'all are aware, from the blackouts exceed the amount of damages from Harvey and Hurricane Ike collectively. And this is the costliest natural disaster ever in the state of Texas. So as Amber mentioned, I graduated law school in May of 2009. I worked as a paralegal all through law school. And so I was lucky to have a job as an attorney immediately after I passed the bar in November of 2009. And so from November 2009, I went from being an associate at a law firm to a partner managing my own office. And then I became mayor of Dalworthington Gardens in 2016. And then I became a district judge in July of 2018. And that was 8 years and 8 months. And so that was a complete whirlwind in my life. And, I was happy. I had lots and lots of professional accomplishments, but I also had lots of challenges at home. I had a new baby in 2012, and I was also raising my daughter, Ella, who was in elementary school at the time. And at that time, around the time my daughter was born, my daughter, Ella, was diagnosed with being type 1 diabetic. And also during that time, my mother passed away of colon cancer. So tonight, I want to tell you some of the stories from my life and try to correlate what I've been through, maybe with what you guys are about to go through, and or what you may have been going through as you've gone through this process. So my first story to you tonight is about connecting dots and persistence. I grew up in Chesterfield, Virginia. My parents, they started a family while they themselves were still in high school. My mother was pregnant with my brother in her senior year of high school. She worked as a bank teller for most of my childhood. And my father, he went to college at night and he worked full time during the day. They had 3 kids by the time that they were in their mid-20s. My parents, they struggled financially. None of us had a college fund. We had a lot of family problems too around the time that I graduated high school. And so I went to 1 semester of college in Virginia, and then I tried to get as far away from my family as I could and all that they were going through. And I moved to Arlington, Texas by myself when I was 19 years old. And I didn't know anyone when I first moved here. I worked at the Red Lobster. I waitressed over on the one on Cooper Street, right near y'all's school. And I was taking 18 hours in school. And it was a major adjustment to be moving from Chesterfield to Arlington and trying to learn how, to pay my rent and pay my school and pay, my bills and car and keep it all together. And so one thing that I did that I will always regret is my third semester, I had trouble balancing everything and I just had a lot of stress and I really struggled. And that semester I didn't go to my finals and I took 4 Fs. And that was, I have to tell y'all, such a huge mistake. It took me years to dig out from those classes. And, but I regrouped and I ended up transferring to Texas Wesleyan. And between 1998 and 2003, I worked 3 jobs. I bartended at 2 different places, one in Arlington and one in Fort Worth. And I worked as a legal assistant during the day. And I went to college full time. And I was able to push through and I graduated college in May of 2003. And I have a bachelor's in business administration and a bachelor's of psychology. Well, thereafter, I wanted to go to law school and I was probably like much in the same position you guys are in. And I was so excited. I got accepted to law school in Michigan. I traded down my car. I paid the deposit on my first semester and I was on my way. But right before I was able to leave, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, Ella. And any parent will tell you having a child is an amazing, amazing blessing. But it really threw a wrench in my plans. And I had to regroup again. And I decided to put off law school for 1 year. Ella was born in June of 2005. And I started law school at Texas Wesleyan, which is now A&M, and in the fall of 2006. And those years, they were so, so rough. I worked full time as a paralegal during the day. And I went to law school at night and I raised Ella. And I would let you know, I was a terrible student. It was definitely the hard way. I don't recommend having a baby if you can during law school, but sometimes those are the cards that you're dealt. And so while I was going through, it was really hard to have faith to see the end. But looking back, that was the path that God intended for me to take. And that path ultimately led me to go to law school in Fort Worth instead of Michigan. And because of that path, I was able to work full time as a paralegal and gain experience in a law firm. This led me to meet many lawyers in the Fort Worth area. These connections led me to meet Senator Chris Harris and State Representative David Cook, who were the partners at the law firm that I worked at right out of school. And then their public service kindled my desire to be a mayor. And this eventually led me to run for judge of the 342nd Court. And like I said, I was never a great student. I had a lot of challenges along the way. But what I did have was ambition and the desire to stay on course. And when I look back and I see the dots, I see the dots now and the way they connected, and I realized that was my path and they connected exactly the way that they should have. And of course, when I was going through that path, it was impossible to connect them because I couldn't see the future. But looking back, I can see that I've been able to accomplish so much in 8 years and 8 months. And, those dots looking backward were, exactly the way that they needed to connect. And what I would say to you guys is, you have to trust in something, your gut, your faith, your karma, whatever it is. And I would tell you, just keep the faith in what you're going through right now and try to stay your course, because I know y'all have a lot of challenges. Y'all have had a lot of challenges this year, but this approach has never let me down. And it's made all the difference in my life. My second story for you is about self-worth. I think we all struggle with self-confidence and self-worth. The most important thing is not to dwell on it. There have been numerous times in my life and career thus far that my confidence was shaken. I remember when I first transferred to Texas Wesleyan after that semester where I didn't drop my classes, I remember a school counselor questioning whether I was even a good enough student to stay in school and let alone law school, right? She was like, I think discouraging me from staying in school, like maybe to go do something else. And although I'll always remember that conversation, I didn't let it distract me from staying in school and keeping my own path. And as a lawyer, there are many times, when I remember when I was a younger attorney, and you'd go into these courtrooms and you'd have, your traditional looking, older, more experienced, lawyers in there. And, sometimes it was off-putting, you feel stressed out. You feel like they have more experience than me. You feel like, they're going to be more prepared than you are. They're going to know the rules better than you. And, I had to learn over the years, not just because somebody had, their name was from a giant law firm in Dallas that, or that they had 30 years more experience than me. That doesn't necessarily mean that the law is more on their side. And it doesn't necessarily mean the facts are more on their side. And, I had to learn, not to let that shake my confidence. And I'll tell you that I was able to win my trials, and I was able to win. I had 3 cases at the Texas Supreme Court, and I won all 3 of those. And one of my proudest moments so far has been, for those of you who are in moot court, is, so one of the cases that I won at the Texas Supreme Court, I had a lawyer come into my court and he quoted my case as precedent to me as a judge. And, it's just funny how you look back, 20 years ago when I was waitressing at Red Lobster to this moment, and it's just amazing how time goes. When I ran for mayor, I ran against a gentleman who had been in office for 10 years, and the other council members actually all had his sign in their yard. One of the council members even took me to lunch, and he tried to talk me out of running. And for those of you who are moms, I'll never forget, at one of the voter forums, a lady asked me, she said, are you going to have enough time to be a mom and a mayor? Are you going to be able to cook dinner and take care of your kids and be a mayor? And, all those little jobs get at you. I didn't let it get to me, and I stayed the course, and I worked harder than my opponent, and I was able to win my race by 82%. Again, when I ran for judge, same thing, I was accused of not having enough experience. I wasn't judicial looking enough. My blonde curly hair and whatnot isn't very judicial looking, some people said. And it was a lot of work. It was a lot of money, but I stayed the course, and I tried to remember that, what other people think of you doesn't matter. I never let myself get too offended. And sometimes that's hard, but you have to remember to take the high road. I remember someone saying to me, and it's true, that the success is the best revenge, right? The best revenge is that you're able to win your race, you're able to win your trial, you're able to, accomplish your goal, and you never let that person get to you. There's a quote that I love by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it goes like this: no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And I think that's so great because, you're the only one that can let somebody get to you. And you have to remember that if you don't let somebody, you can't feel inferior without giving that person the consent to make you feel that way. And so my third story is about death. One of the most profound things to happen to me in my life thus far is to experience the death of my mother. She was an amazing mother and grandmother. There was a lot of injustice in her life, a lot of things that happened to her that weren't fair, but she never let her challenges keep her down. My mother was diagnosed with colon cancer in her early 50s, and she battled it for about 10 years. And she wasn't negative. She wasn't a complainer. She died at age 59, and I was there when she took her last breath. And she weighed about 100 pounds, and she did look anything like the vibrant woman that raised me. And it was really, really sad. My mother, she was the kind of mother who still made Easter baskets for me as an adult. And she was at every grandparents' day for my kids. And she just was an amazing, loving parent. And this effect on me was very significant. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And no one has ever escaped death, though. And it's definitely put my life into perspective. And it's reminded me to be grateful for the time that I had with my mom, reminded me not to be a complainer. And what you guys need to remember as y'all go through law school and you go through the next chapter of your life, that someone is always having a worse day than you. So believe me, 20 years ago, 43, it sounded so old, right? And if I am lucky now, I know I have half my life left. Emily Dickinson says, forever is composed of nows. And that's true. We get so hung up in the future, we forget that we need to be present in today, and that we need to be present in the now. And so what I would tell you is to live your life now. Now is the time to put in the hard work in school and getting your career started. Now is the time to communicate openly. Now is the time to be up for anything and to keep an open mind. Now is the time to be enthusiastic and to look on the bright side. And now is the time to challenge expectations. Remember that obstacles and challenges are going to be inevitable as you go forward. It's how we handle them and how we work through them and don't give up that makes us successful. And so I would tell you, your time is limited. So don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't let the noise of others' opinions keep you down or drown out your own inner voice. Have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. This is a super exciting time in your life. I mean, you're at the beginning, like I was, 20 years ago. And I would tell you to leave here with the attitude that you're going to do everything that you set your mind to, and don't let anyone take that away from you. So again, I thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story and the opportunity to speak here with you all today.
Judge Fitzpatrick, I'm without words. Y'all, please give a virtual applause to Judge Fitzpatrick. We are so grateful to you for your words, for your wisdom. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. I'm so thankful that everyone got a chance to hear that. And I know for a fact that there are several people listening right now whose lives will be changed for having heard what you said, and spirits will be uplifted and they will be empowered by what you've shared. So I am truly grateful for what you said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amber. I really appreciate the program. And I would tell any of you guys, if y'all ever get down as you're going through your process, I'll give you my phone number now if you want to write it down, or Amber has my information. It's 817-675-0922. That's my personal cell phone. And as if you go through, the rest of your education, or, even if you're getting started out your job, and anything I can ever do for y'all, please reach out. I'm so happy to, give you advice at how I got through. There's, you definitely get down and you forget, that this is temporary, and so if there's ever anything that I can do or help out along the way, I encourage you guys, give me a call. Believe me, you're not the first person, to go through this. It's gonna happen for you. And if you need advice, please reach out.
Thank you so much. All right, I hope you guys wrote that down. And if you didn't get a chance to get it down, I do have it and I can share that with anybody that needs it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations, everyone.
We'll be giving you a big hug and a gift bag right now, but it's in the mail to you. Thank you so
I appreciate
much.
you, Amber. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.